Hi there! In this video we're going to go over the technology steps to complete your Week 2 discussion board in Math 203 using Statcrunch. So to open Statcrunch, you can either go to statcrunch.com and log in with the same username and password that you used to log into your MyMathLab account, or you can launch the program directly from your MyMathLab account right away. Once you're here and logged in, you can click on Open Statcrunch to open up a new tab, and you'll get to a blank spreadsheet looking something like this. In the spreadsheet, all you're going to do is type in the data that you gathered into one column of the program. Then you can click on the gray cell directly above that column, and you can label this as anything descriptive that describes what your data was. So the data that I gathered here was the number of Facebook friends that different people had. So I'm going to call this number of Facebook friends. You can abbreviate it or summarize it in whatever way makes sense. Now that we have the data in there, we're ready to compute the first item that we need from the assignment. The first item we needed was a histogram. A histogram is a graph, so to make any graph, we're going to go to this Graph tab right here, and you can see that the fourth one down says histogram. So we're going to select histogram. The first thing we need to do under where it says select columns is click on the column name that has the data that we want to make the graph for. Here it's easy because I only had one column of data, but it's possible you would have multiple columns of data which would all be listed here, so you would just click to highlight the one that you're interested in making the graph for. Notice that when I click on that, the same labeling comes over here to the right box, which indicates that I did correctly select it. Everything else here are optional items which you're welcome to play around with, but all you need to do now is scroll down until you see Graph Properties. We want to make sure that any graph we create is appropriately labeled. The axes should be labeled, and it should have a title that somehow describes to the reader what this data is representing without the reader having to go further into the weeds of reading our paragraphs and supporting information. So in any histogram, the x-axis is actually going to be the data that you collected. So that's going to be number of Facebook friends in this case. The y-axis in a histogram is always the frequency that those numbers occurred. So here we're going to type frequency. And the title is going to be anything descriptive that describes to the reader what this graph is representing. So here I'm going to call it histogram of Facebook friends. That's all you need to do. So now I'm going to click compute down here at the bottom. And now I have a histogram that's showing the distribution of the number of Facebook friends that the people in my sample had. The next thing we need to do for part 2 is generate some summary statistics. Specifically, we want the mean, median, mode, standard deviation, and 5-number summary. We can get all of those items in just one area. To get this information, we're going to go to Stat, Summary Stats, and we're going to select Column because we did enter our data into a column of this spreadsheet. Again, the first thing we're going to do is select the column that we want the summary statistics to be generated for. After that, we're going to come down here to this statistics area, and we just need to select from this list the different statistics that we want the computer to give us. To select multiple things at the same time, you're going to click on the various statistical measures, hold the Control key down on your keyboard, and click the other item that you want. So we wanted the mean, we did want the standard deviation. If we scroll down, we did want the median. Scrolling down, we were asked for the 5-number summary. Remember, the 5-number summary is the minimum, the first quartile, the median, which is also the second quartile, the third quartile, and the maximum number. So the minimum, maximum, first quartile, and third quartile are right here. And remember, we already selected the median above. And then if we keep going down, we will find the mode. So that's it. I can now check in this right side box that I do have all the different statistics that I wanted, and since I do, I can click compute, and now I have the summary statistics for my data. The final thing I need from the technology here is a box plot. A box plot, like a histogram, is a graph. So we're going to go back to the graph drop down, and here we'll see box plot. So we click on box plot. Again, we're going to select the column that we want to make the box plot for. We can leave everything blank here. Right here is a checkbox that says draw boxes horizontally. So you have the option of making a vertical box plot that goes up and down, or a horizontal box plot that goes left and right. It doesn't matter, whichever you prefer is fine. I'm going to go ahead and leave it unchecked, but if you wanted to check it, you would just have a box plot that goes side to side instead of up and down. If we scroll down, again, we're given the opportunity to label and title our graph here. The nice thing here is that if you labeled your column in this area right here at the beginning, you don't actually need to put in anything to the X or Y axis labels because the program will know what the data is and it will do that for you. But we should still add a title. So we'll add a title here, box plot of Facebook friends. Again, you can title it whatever you want, but it should be something that communicates to your reader what this information is showing. All done, and now we click compute. And here is our vertical box plot. Remember, we could have also done a horizontal box plot, and if you look at this box plot that's going up and down vertically and you don't like it, you can go to Options, Edit, and then go check that box, draw boxes horizontally that we mentioned before, and then go back to the compute. And now you have the same box plot, but now it is presented horizontally. That's it. That's all the technology you need to do for your second discussion board in Math 203.